You know, I have friends who haven't worked in 5 years. I know families who survive on food stamps. We need work. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and one on the way. And they're gonna have jobs when they get older, right here in Pennsylvania.
If Corey O'Brien can bring back trust by instituting a code of ethics his first day as county commissioner and balance the budget without raising taxes or cutting services, he can bring back jobs and hope as congressman.
I'm Corey O'Brien, and I approve this ad.
Issue. There's been a real leftward shift in the state over the last, a decade or so. This is a year where we will really see how far that can go. How do you think that the state's political identity will be different after the 2000s?
Let me make sure I understand the question.
Yeah.
Because we're Democrats, this is a leftward move?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
not
exactly.
necessarily sure that's the case.
All right, well, regardless, there's been this,
Seriously, Dan, the reason
Yeah.
I think that you've seen many more Democrats is because our candidates have been good candidates. And I think, unfortunately, again, on the national level, we have seen some Republican candidates that have just kind of disappointed folks who live in our area. So it was a national issue, but was certainly localized. Where do I think it's going? I think Pennsylvania is one of those states where you can have 1.5 million more Democrats and Republicans and still elect Republicans. I mean, I really don't. I think our folks are much smarter than many strategists give them credit for. I think they're independent voters. I think they look at the candidates. I think they look at the issues, and sometimes they just get damned angry. And I think we're looking at that this year. I mean, I think there is part of the electorate who is just angry at whatever they're angry at, whether it's health care, whether it's God knows what. And I think it's righteous anger, and I think it's anger that certainly is reasonable to those folks who are feeling it. They might have lost a job. Relative might have lost a job. Not happy with the educational system, whatever it might be. So, where do I think Pennsylvania is going? I think it's probably going to be in pretty much the same way it has been moving in recent years, which is probably more, maybe not in 08 or in 10 necessarily, but I think you won't see a great slippage in Democratic registration, but you will see probably an increase in Democratic registration more in this part of the state than I think in the western part of the state. I think that's true. And I think what we're going to find is we're going to find Democrats who are out there and Republicans who are out there cross-voting. That's what I think.
And Nathan?
I think you're right to some extent. I think that just because there's the addition of 425,000 Democrats to the rules doesn't necessarily mean the state is lurching that far to the left. I think Pennsylvania still overall electorate occupies the radical center. And I think that the Bob Casey Democrats and the Catherine Baker Knoll Democrats are still going to hold their own in Democratic primary races and determine who that party actually nominates. But I was the political director for the Republican Committee in Westmoreland County in 2004 to 2006 when we were able to take a Republican Party that had only the constitutionally mandated office holders, so one county commissioner and one jury commissioner, and actually started going after recruiting new Republicans. We showed up on the doorsteps of rank and file union members and said, this is a Big Ten party in this county. We stand for these things, but we want you in the party. And we started flipping Democratic committee people over to be Republicans and Democratic registered voters over. We brought Democratic local elected office holders over to switch parties and run for re-election as Republicans. And we have to do better statewide to mount an all-out strategy to rebuild a Big Ten Republican Party that isn't Sarah Palin's Republican Party. It's a Republican Party that talks to people of all walks of life. And right now, we haven't been doing it very well. And you can see that by the declining Republican voter roll statewide. But if and when we do that, we can be just as competitive in any statewide race, including this year.
Yeah, I think we have a unique opportunity as a Republican Party, which is at the top of the ticket. You're going to have Tom Corbett, somebody that, again, is proven they can clean up corruption. understands the issues that are facing Harrisburg and has some real solutions to solving those issues. And then you also have Pat Toomey, who I will tell you, I think is the most articulate candidate I've seen in this country. He clearly understands the issues. He's owned a business. He's worked on Wall Street. He understands these issues, and he can articulate why these policies that we're seeing are actually driving jobs out of this country. And I think that's why you're going to see him bring people back to the Republican Party as they get a chance to hear them and hear him and what he really has to say.
I don't know that working on Wall Street's a great resume bullet these days, but we have the smartest sports fans, and we have the most independent voters. And I think that David is right. The voters today, I go back to saying it's us versus them. They want to know who's on their side and who is interested in solving problems. This is a year where I think that the traditional sniping and sort of worn out rhetoric is going to turn voters off. I think voters want to know, what are you going to do about health care? We know it's a problem because we have to pay the bills every month. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about the economy? How are you going to ensure that there's a job for my son or daughter when they get out of community college or college in the green energy field or whatever the next manufacturing field is? What are you going to do about the fact that we have a decaying infrastructure and that businesses aren't going to want to settle here if they know that we have a second-rate transportation infrastructure? What are you going to do about it? And I don't care what party you are, I don't care what office you're running from. If you don't have a plan, if you're not going to lead or follow, then get out of the way. And I think that that's going to be the theme of 2010.
And until we hear what that plan is, I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you all out there for joining us. Thank you to Bryan Lentz, Stephen Welch, David Glancey, and Nathan Shrader. I'm Dan Hirschhorn. We'll see you next time, and until then, keep those browsers on p2010.com.
He did end with the best joke.
Thank you.
You know, I have friends who haven't worked in 5 years. I know families who survive on food stamps. We need work. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and one on the way. And they're gonna have jobs when they get older, right here in Pennsylvania.
If Corey O'Brien can bring back trust by instituting a code of ethics his first day as county commissioner and balance the budget without raising taxes or cutting services, he can bring back jobs and hope as congressman.
I'm Corey O'Brien, and I approve this ad.